You're listening to War. We are America Radio.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 17 seconds and counting. Guidance internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. Engines on. 5, 4, 3, 2. All engines running.
Now, as I just realized my mic wasn't on, this is how we do sometimes when we're using a new platform, we're using new software. So you were just looking at me, staring at me like, I can't hear Dan, where is he? Now I know you can hear me. Now I know you can hear me. So I apologize for that. Imperfect people using imperfect devices in an imperfect world. That's how we do. But as I was saying, even though you couldn't hear me, this is the last day of November 30th, 2015. I am Dan Adams, a.k.a. the Soulful Conservative, host of the Political Heat live here on War Radio, Monday evenings, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And before I bring on my guest host for this wonderful hour of just pure bliss, I want to talk about this real quick. Planned Parenthood shooting in Colorado Springs. And the idiocy, once again, coming from the left. Now, seeing that we've got evidence that the idiot nut job who shot up, killed 3 people, including a police officer, part-time pastor as well. Now we know that man didn't have a political affiliation at all. None whatsoever. He wasn't conservative, he wasn't a liberal, he wasn't a Republican, and he wasn't a Democrat. So all you stupid idiots on the left screaming and yelling, telling us that we need to shut up because it's pro-lifers that caused this man to shoot up these people and shoot up that Planned Parenthood. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Be quiet. Now you know who this man is. End it. Finito. So, let me go ahead and change my view here. Let me get my side-by-side screen here. Go ahead and Julio, go ahead and unmute yourself and let the viewers and the audio audience know who you are. The Conservarican Julio Rivera. Introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, man.
Well, thanks a lot, Dan, and I'm really glad to be here tonight with you, and I can't wait to start mixing it up. But yeah, my name is Julio Rivera. I'm a conservative from northern New Jersey, northwestern New Jersey now, but I'm originally from Paterson. And it's funny, Paterson's been in the news a lot because people were talking about as far as with the celebration after 9/11 and things like that. And that's something that I felt the sentiment down there that those people were very happy about that. You know, they were, if not celebrating, they were very sympathetic, and there was a mix of both. But and I'm basically for the last, I would say, really since the stimulus package and a lot of the things that happened early on in Obama, I've turned really hard to the right, especially fiscally. Obviously, I'm somewhat of a social conservative. I would say that I certainly am a social conservative, a pro-lifer. And certainly I do believe in traditional marriage and a lot of the other platforms as far as social conservatism go. But I think as a Latino, I think we're underrepresented when it comes to conservative issues. I think a lot of Latinos are conservative and don't realize that they are. And they've been misled by the left for a long time. So I basically come from that reformed liberal, or not necessarily liberal, but reformed Democrat sort of platform. That's what I used to be up until I kind of grew up a little bit. The joke goes, everybody's a liberal until they start working and they start paying taxes and they start realizing the way the world actually works. So that's basically me in a nutshell. And I think a lot of my activism is rooted towards trying to bring Latinos under the tent of conservatism, Dan.
All right. Well, I appreciate that intro. And as I'm looking at you on the screen, I can see your mic. Why don't you tilt the mic? I can see where the actual audio input is. If you turn it where that little, yeah, exactly. That's, yeah. There you go.
USB magic.
There you go. Now I'm getting good levels. That's how we do it here. See, I got a degree in audio engineering, so I notice that stuff as soon as it happens.
There you go. See,
so,
my production values are in the toilet. Anything.
It's all good, man. It's all a learning curve.
To MP3. If anybody's got any suggestions, feel free to hit me up at it's Julio on Twitter.
Well, hey, that's all a learning experience. Life is a learning experience. You know, we learn every day. You know, I'm 42 years old. I got 2 kids. I got 4 pets running around in my house.
Wow, you're doubling up on me. I got 1 kid.
I don't know about that, but, you know. Well, hey, Julio, let's get into the first topic of this evening. We're going to talk about this idiot climate change conference going on in Paris, France. And it seems as if, and I'm going to let you give your take on it, and then we'll discuss it further. But I think when I first heard that this stupid conference was going to happen, I'm saying, okay, obviously Obama is trying to do what he does. Okay, he tries to do everything to make everybody fall in line, and of course, seeing that it's over in Paris, they're going to fall in line. It's Europe. That's what they do. Socialist, communist, Marxist Europe. When you first heard about this climate change conference coming around the corner, what was your first thoughts when you heard that it was actually going to happen?
Well, I think that they've, in our country, we've had an EPA that's been, long overreaching, into industry, and I think cause of more stagnation than anything. I think it's amazing what the private sector could achieve when it's presented with a challenge. I think the fact that we've gotten, our gas prices down as low as they have, that's a testament to what the private sector has done. I think the government owns way too much land. I think right now we can get, and come back really with a really strong boon behind an energy revolution if the government would just allow for more drilling and ease up restrictions on, there's so many states that could have such a much better self-supporting economy if they would allow for coal to be mined, and that would actually only help the citizen. It would create additional competition, which would force the private sector to come up with better pricing, and it would only benefit the people. But this is the same thing on a globalist scale. I think that the left, the people with the globalist agenda, the hardcore socialists that want to create the supposed one world government and all that, they have their leader now in Obama. No matter what happens, he's always going to twist it right back to a climate issue or an environmental issue. There's a great quote today from Ben Shapiro, and he wrote an article, and it started off, and it's actually pretty funny. It's President Obama is like a beautiful sunrise. Each morning he astonishes, keyword, anew. Except that the sunrise is beautiful, and Obama is simply stupid. And it is. It's a shock. A lot of the things that come out of his mouth, it's not even so much that he's detached. I think this is all obviously by design, because they have an agenda that and it's been said before, they will crawl through broken glass with a bayonet in their mouth to try to advance this agenda. And I think a lot of it boils down to control. I think that they want to limit who the players are globally, because it is really a global economy at this point. And the United States is one of the biggest, you get the most consumption out of the United States. So the global market is sort of headquartered in the United States. And this is the direction they want to move now. They want to restrict, the mining of natural resources. They don't care so much, the big companies, because what it does, all the restrictions wind up just eliminating their smaller competitors. We're always going to have oil. We're always going to have gas. We're always going to have some of that stuff. But, I think that right now the corporatists are trying to move us towards this green direction. But what they're doing now, like with the initial stimulus, there was so much money that was lost. There was investigations into Solyndra. Right now, there's just a lot of pork spending, and it's the top elites that are, throwing this money around at each other. That's as far as what I think. I meet this initially with skepticism, and it's funny too, because Obama, one of his quotes was, "One of the enemies." Like right now, we're in a global war against jihad. One of the enemies that we'll be fighting at this conference is cynicism. And that's almost as backwards as it could possibly be. I mean, they want an enemy in cynicism. They got him right here, because I'm cynical of why they're even getting together to discuss this right now. These global leaders right now should be figuring out what they're going to do to prevent further attacks like what we saw in Paris. I mean, what do you think, Dan?
Well, I'm glad you brought up and you kind of prefaced what I wanted to talk about. And it seems as if I was listening to Bill Bennett this morning, and he had an expert on in regards to climate change and all that good stuff. And as you were giving out, how the world is always going to need fossil fuels. I don't care if they come up with the latest and greatest and the best in regards to clean energy, whatever that is. But 90% of the world, 90%, excuse me, 90, was it, let me get the statistics right. 90% is oil, gas, and coal as far as energy across the world. Globally, 90% oil, natural gas, and coal. So there's no way in the world that there's some magic potion laying around that's just going to say, okay, everybody, you can stop going to the gas station and putting gas in your car. We got this great, wonderful, brand new, straight off the presses, hot, you can't even touch, it's a hot potato, some type of voodoo that's going to allow you to not use gas, to not use coal, and it's just not there yet. And it ain't going to be there because you got to systematically look at how we've come to where we are since centuries. And you mean to tell me that as we've evolved into where we are right now, 90% of the world is using gas, coal, and oil. Okay, 90%. And I think the guy said it's $80 trillion. Did he say a year or a day? Can't be a day. So I guess it has to be a year. Yeah, $80 trillion a year in regards to how much we consume in fossil fuels. $80 trillion a year.
You know what it is? That new hot potato that you're talking about, they're going to force it on us. They're going to do it through legislative measures, through restrictions, through new laws, forcing, companies to adhere to their cleaner standards. So what they're going to do is they're going to force a lot of industries that are working well now, have found ways to be cleaner, found ways to be more efficient, because a lot of these industries like automotive, like, in manufacturing, the way that they make these machines, they've been working with natural resources. You're going to force them to spend more money, which is in turn only going to result in a higher cost of whatever the products are that they're creating, whether it's new cars that are energy efficient to an unnecessary degree, or just outright electric. And it's not like that's completely clean energy either. Some of these statistics that they come up with are marginal. I mean, you can have an explosion of, let's say a huge volcanic eruption will cause a lot more emissions into the atmosphere than the industries of an entire country, perhaps, and that's been proven. A super volcano, and that can happen at any time, would be even more detrimental. And our atmosphere has survived a lot worse than that.
Right, right.
I don't believe that climate change is man-made that way. You have people that come out and they say that, if we don't do this, this is going to happen. We've had so many disproven scientific models. Right now, Manhattan's supposed to be underwater. Right now, the polar ice caps are supposed to be melted to a certain degree, and they've only grown. Where's the actual hardcore evidence behind any of these studies? And if you talk to there's been scientists that have been ostracized by the industry because they've stood up and they've said, well, a lot of these hypotheses, a lot of these, models that they make, they're just not accurate, and they haven't been. They've been proven inaccurate. And that's through even them creating, they've created all this extra, okay, we can't do this, we can't do that. There's all these new standards for either automobiles or the emissions that are coming from factories. It's none of it's true. And for him to say there, and Obama said this earlier, he said 14 out of the 15 highest years on record as far as temperature-wise have been in the last 15 years. I dispute that, because in a lot of areas, some of their coldest climate has come in the past couple of years. You know, there was the whole the polar shift or whatever it was last year, and then we had like an extremely cold winter. So it depends. It's selective information. It's what you want to believe or what you want to push out there. They take the information that helps them perpetuate their narrative that they need out there, that they need, the deaf, dumb, and blind just to accept and say, okay, well, the president said it, so it's true. So they use this selective statistical information to further, their agenda, which at this point, you're going to see a lot of. We spent $1 trillion in that stimulus package. And what did we get? A couple of wind energy thing, a couple of giant fans. Like, what did we really get for that $1 trillion?
Right.
36 out of the 37 green energy companies that accepted money from that stimulus package were investigated for misappropriating some of that money. So I mean, if that's not a big pork barrel spending corporatist money grab, I don't know what is. And Obama's been the great orchestrator as the champion of green energy since he's come out. And look, this many years later, with the Middle East in disarray, he's allowing terrorists out of Gitmo, and his biggest enemy this week is cynicism.
Right. Well, hey, Julio, I love the world that we're living in right now. People are hitting me up on the war chat through the Political Heat event, saying that your volume is too low. So, So what you want to do? You go to tools and the options again.
All right.
You see, this is live troubleshooting, y'all, here under the Political Heat on War Radio. So go tools, options, and then go to audio. Yeah, audio settings. Mm-hmm. Okay, now where it has your mic. Uncheck where it says automatically adjust my microphone settings. Uncheck that. Mm-hmm. And then where that little
push the circle up.
Yeah, just bang it all. It's bang it all the way up to the top.
All the way to the top. All right, am I here now? Can you hear me now?
All right, so see now you
get a microphone check microphone. No, can somebody?
Now see, I'm hearing myself in the background now.
You're hearing yourself in the background.
I heard myself for a second. So I don't know if you can go grab some headphones or something. I can speak for a couple minutes while you grab a pair of headphones.
Oh, you know what I did now? I just lowered you. So you're lower and I'm higher.
Okay, so let me go ahead and see. All right, go ahead and speak again. Let me see where you're at when I can see it on my level here.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Still not as where it should be. But we're going to continue on. I can adjust the levels, through the audio when I put it up for the podcast. But we're going to continue on. This is how we do. We adjust, we adapt, and we continue on. So once you go ahead and just bring your level down just a little bit because you're a little bit hot through your Skype, just bring it down just a hair. Just a hair. All right,
like
go ahead.
Like that?
A little bit more.
Like that.
Right
like
there.
That.
Okay, that'll work. Okay. All right.
I got you.
So, as we were speaking and talking about this idiocy and this climate change summit, conference, bullcrap, whatever you want to call it, as I said in my video blog today, it's pure bullcrap. Okay, you got the leader of the free world ranting and raving, basically, and if you listen to his speech today, I was going to play the clip, but the fact you can't hear it, we'll work on that on the next broadcast. But basically, he's up there, Doomsday Obama. Sorry, I forgot. I don't call him by Obama no more. Doomsday Hussein up there. Oh my gosh! If we don't do anything by Thursday at noon, everyone's gonna die. The Earth is gonna spontaneously combust. It's basically how he was up there.
That's of it, Yeah, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I was just like
pants on fire. That's really what we're gonna have. Just like Obama, we're all just gonna pants on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was just like, all right, dude. All right, you're gonna go that route. All right, we'll see how it goes. But my take on it is this, Julio. Obviously, with this man and what I read today, he's looking for $3 billion from the gate. $3 billion to give it to these people who he feels needs it. Whoever these people are, wherever these countries are, whoever he feels. And right off the bat, he wants $500 million before the year's out. And we only got a month left, okay? And we know around the corner, well, not even around the corner, we know that on Capitol Hill, that Congress is behind the scenes trying to end the omnibus bill that they're trying to put together, because omnibus, bring everything together all at once and make it seem like they know what the hell they're doing, when all the pork and everything else that you can throw into it's been put into it, and that's how they roll. They don't do everything all year, and it's not even a year, because shoot, you look at how many times Congress is in session, it's like a quarter of the year.
You know what it was? The Cromnibus bill that they passed last year kind of prevented the quarterly fiscal crisis. So this one, they're going to try to push a lot of fast ones by us before the end of the year for the next budget.
Right, exactly. And that's what this whole omnibus is. Throw everything in the pot, try and get everything in there that we can get away with, so the American public has no idea what they're doing. This is how put it this way. I am so cynical at this point. I'm beyond cynical. Let me just put it that way. Cynical is like, let's see. There's cynical over there, and then there's me way above it.
Off the chart.
Exactly. There's no listing for it. Now, Julio, push your mic back just a little bit. Just push it back. All right, right there. That should be good. There we go. Perfect.
You're getting feedback from people who are like, "Oh, he's a little loud."
Well, I'm going to hit somebody up on the war page and just ask them how you sound now. But as I was saying, with this whole omnibus bill and this whole, once again, almost said it again. Come on, Dan. Hussein trying to shove what the American public don't want down our throats once again, and this fickle, feckless, non-spine having Congress, led by the Republicans, I might add, is going to let whatever he wants through. And I've said it, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it on my show, because this is my show. They're scared because a whole bunch of white dudes are in Congress, don't want to smack Obama down because they don't want to be called a racist. That's just point blank. Or they would.
It really is still like that. You know what it is? The House and the Senate now are controlled by the Republicans. They should be I would send Obama a bill a day for him to just go ahead and veto. Because you know what? The people spoke. They ran out a conservative platform. They should be passing conservative bills. They have the majority to do it. Leave it to Obama to just sit there and I'm going to veto bill after bill after bill after bill. Because the only thing that they're doing right now is they're killing the Republican Party. Because the Republican Party to the voter right now are a bunch of liars. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats might suck. They might be terrible fiscally. They may be lost foreign policy-wise. They may have no idea what they're doing. But you know, at the end of the day, they speak to their constituency of low information and really brain-dead, stupid voters. But they tell them the truth. They say, we're gonna try to pass this. We're gonna try to get you free college. We're gonna try to get you all these impossible things that there's no possible way to make them work fiscally or make them solvent in any sort of way. The Republicans go out there and win these midterm elections on a platform of we're gonna repeal Obamacare. We're gonna build the Keystone Pipeline. I would put the Keystone Pipeline on his desk on a daily basis. You know what? Tie up Congress with it. Because if not, the only thing that they're going to do is keep passing these mush bills that are going to allow him to further his agenda even more. Between them not providing any pushback and him doing so many things by executive fiat and taking so much power into his own hands, he at the end of his presidency, and he's a lame duck if there's ever been a lame duck technically, because he's had a horrible performance in the midterm elections. But he's going to accomplish more than maybe any other lame duck president with, a Congress of the opposite party, both houses, than any other president's probably ever accomplished. It's insane.
Right, exactly. And as I'm going back and forth here, Julio, I'm looking at my people in the war chat room, and they're saying, Wayne, the CEO of War Radio, We Are America Radio, saying that it sounds good on the website. So
okay, well that's good.
I guess
that's where it matters. I guess.
I guess, and I'm hoping that it's coming through like it should. And I'm just gonna. Once again, I want you to push that mic back just a little bit because you're a little hot on my end. All right, right there, perfect.
I gotta push my head back.
No. Just lean forward. Just get comfortable. I just want you to push that back. All right. Okay. All right.
I'm gonna set up the command center better next time.
Okay. So, no problem. So they're saying that my voice is higher on the website. So we'll work it out. It's no big
You're
deal.
very excitable. I can tell you have a lot of energy and passion behind what you're saying.
And you know what? It's like I'm like I got freaking 4 things in front of me here. I'm trying to make sure that I get back to us when we're talking together. Now I just did it, so we're back together on the screen. But for those who are viewing this via Ustream, I appreciate it. This is the new way that we're going to be doing it here, especially on my show. That's right, the Political Heat War. We Are America Radio.
And Conservarican and Friends.
Yes, exactly.
If I get a little bit of more production values. I'm going to read something about it and figure it out. Hit the command center more often.
Right, exactly. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead. We got about 4 minutes before we're going to go to break. But let's go ahead and talk about the second topic I want to talk about, and that's ISIS. Mm-hmm. That's ISIS. We'll talk about it for just a few minutes, and then we can go to the break about 3 minutes. But I'm going to give you the 3 minutes, and then I'll give you a heads up when we're about to go to break. But ISIS, you go ahead and give me your first feelings, emotions, and where do you think, as far as this fight against ISIS is, and what we need to do?
I think the fixation on it being against ISIS, I think it's bigger than that, and it's always going to be bigger than that. It's always going to be a war against globalist jihad. It's funded, there's elements in a lot of different countries in the Middle East that are behind it. The ultimate goal of it, is that forced conversion. They want the world, on their terms. I think that it's an extreme version of Islam, but I think if you know enough about Islam, then that's kind of what the ultimate, the end game is of it. So it's very dangerous. I think ISIS, in a lot of ways, people say it was created by the United States, or people have all these other whacked out views of it. I mean, I think it's more or less always going to be there, but I think that the United States at this point, based on what their agenda is almost kind of using it. Like, I think that ISIS has almost become their useful idiot, in a sense, because just from the perspective of our nation, we've had a lot of things said about, as far as how Obama is a statist. He does want to. I think it plays into everything. It plays into disarming people. I think it plays into civil disorder. It seems like they like to breed civil disorder. This is civil disorder on a global scale, where it pulls a lot of countries into it. I mean, we've seen a lot of things happening here, as far as or at least rumor-wise that that they're here, that they're training. There's supposedly perhaps training camps here. I think that if it ever really explodes the way that it did in Paris, and if we have a couple of instances of it, that's going to be the justification for the government to say, okay, we need to be in control of everything because there's no other way to monitor it. And at this point, we've laid down enough for the federal government to probably be able to get away with it.
Yeah, right.
I think that's really ultimately, that's why I think they downplay it. It's almost like the bad son that you never want to chastise when they do something bad. It's like, no matter, like if ISIS goes ahead and shoots up Paris, it's global warming's fault.
Right.
They never really want, and it plays and ties into exactly, with him not wanting to call it out for what it is. I think that's they can achieve full statism in this country, perhaps, and then have total control of the United States' wealth and resources and riches to redistribute throughout the world if they need elements that cause disorder in order for the government to say that now we're going to come in and take control. So ISIS can be destroyed. If we don't stabilize that region the way that we're supposed to, somebody else will come up in its place.
Right.
Whether you want to call it the Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the elements in Iran, it's always going to be there.
Right.
It's always going to be there till it's completely defeated. And until it's completely defeated to a certain extent, you're going to have to wage a certain level of war against it. The one thing with like Saddam Hussein and even Assad, to a certain extent, it's the Middle East is always going to be disorder and it's always going to be chaos. This has been going on since the 7th century. You're not going to really fix it as like a Western nation, or you're always going to be resented for trying to do it, for trying to fix it, and we're always going to be their great enemy. So it's almost like if you have somebody who has the region somewhat stabilized, as long as they're not committing, they're not killing millions of people genocidally or things like that, or they're not committing like these really, really bad human rights abuses, let them do what they're going to do in their country. You know, I mean, why should we necessarily get into it? But what wound up happening is we did get into it. Obama let the situation get out of control, and now we have ISIS. And
right.
because we have ISIS, we're probably going to have ISIS here through the refugees.
Right.
But then again, the useful idiot. Maybe they want that. Who knows? It seems like they do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is yours truly, Dan Adams, a.k.a. the Soulful Conservative, along with the Conserva-Rican Julio Rivera, and this is the Political Heat live here on World Radio. Julio, go ahead and mute your mic. We're about to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking about ISIS. That's right, ISIS. We'll be back in 2 and 2 and 1.
Are you tired of people making fun of what you stand for? Are you angry at Washington, D.C. and the elected officials who don't want to hear what you have to say? Are you sick of watching those who claim to be conservative act like liberals? Are you tired of the mainstream media? We Are America Radio is now your alternative choice. We are a 24/7 network designed to inform, educate you with opinions like you've never heard before. Our blend of rookie and veteran voices will keep you wanting for more. Not to mention, we are the #1 political and government talk radio station on the Live 365 platform. So check out weareamericaradio.com for our direct stream, or download us on your phone or tablet with the Live 365 or TuneIn free apps and just type in WAA Radio. Share us with your family members and coworkers. We are America. We are you.
Are you among the 64% of Americans who believe our country is going in the wrong direction? If yes, then eVoiceAmerica.com is the political take-action site we've all been waiting for. And it's really free. eVoice America provides your personal list of elected reps every time you log on. This makes it so easy to email your opinions and e-votes on top issues directly to each of our D.C. elected representatives. eVoice then publishes our e-vote majority percentages on top issues to each member of Congress and the media. Now, for the first time in history, we can know what millions of American citizens are telling Congress. No more gridlock. Join the new American majority using eVoiceAmerica.com, putting Americans in control of Congress. Visit eVoiceAmerica.com today. It's free and easy to use. That's eVoiceAmerica.com.
I don't care who our candidate is, and I haven't since the beginning of this. I haven't. Ask not what the candidate can do for you. Ask what you can do for the candidate. We are there to confront them on behalf of our candidate. I will march behind whoever our candidate is, because if we don't, we lose. Because if we don't, we lose. Because if we don't, we lose. There are two paths. There are two paths. Black, white, gay, and straight. Anyone that's willing to stand next to me to fight the progressive left, I will be in that bunker. And if you're not in that bunker because you're not satisfied with this candidate, more than shame on you, you're on the other side. Thank you. Thank you.
War. There's a movement in healthcare today. It's a movement of people that's ready to stand up and take charge of their healthcare. It's people like you and me who are tired of paying too much for healthcare and getting too little. People who are standing up for their values and letting their conscience make decisions based on timeless principles. It's a movement that is sweeping the nation, and you need to be a part of it. Liberty Health Share is leading the movement of people who are looking for an alternative to traditional health insurance. Liberty Health Share is a healthcare sharing organization of people who are sharing the cost of healthcare in an easy, and efficient way. Choose your own doctor, your own hospital, and live out your values in healthcare. Join the movement. Together, we're changing healthcare for good. Go to www.joinlhs.com or call 800-722-8041.
Other high-powered weapons that military people use to kill in close combat? I don't think so. So I come from a different place than you do. I respect your views. I ask you to respect my views.
Mr. Chairman, nobody doubts her sincerity or her passion. And yet at the same time, I would note that she chose not to answer the question that I asked, which is, in her judgment, would it be consistent with the Constitution for Congress to specify which books are permitted and which books are not, and to use the specific
The answer is obvious. No.
You are listening to War. We are America Ready.
Probably not hearing the music because my levels aren't where they should be tonight, but we're going to continue on and proceed to give you what you need. And before we went to break, so go ahead, Julio, go ahead and unmute yourself. We're going to go ahead and continue to talk about ISIS.
Yes, we are.
ISIS. Now, when we went to break, you so eloquently was talking about how, in terms of, do we know exactly, and I'm talking about with this whole Syrian refugee situation going on, I don't understand how in Hussein's mother living mind that he would think, okay, we already know and we got concrete evidence with the Paris attacks that at least two, there may be more, we just don't know yet, but at least two of the attackers were Syrian refugees, came in as refugees, came in as someone who thought, well, okay, I'm an ISIS dude. My uppers are telling me, infiltrate wherever you can. If their security is laxed, go there and do what you got to do, cause havoc, kill people, Allahu Akbar, and get it done. Now, juxtapose that to here in America. Hussein, our president, unfortunately, wants to bring in not 10,000, not 50,000, not 100,000, not 150, but 200,000 of these Syrian refugees that everyone in his intelligence community is telling them that we can't vet. We can't vet at all, because when you have a database, for those in the computer world, you got to have some start point when it comes to data in order to reference, check, things of that nature on that database. Well, FBI Director Comey explicitly said, we do not have any information from these Syrian refugees that Hussein wants to bring into America. But yet, we're supposed to believe from this guy, from this dude, from, you can keep your plan, you can keep your doctor, you can do this, you can do that. I'm lying right to your face, right to you, America. I'm lying to you. Every word is coming out of my mouth. And as soon as I go off teleprompter, and I start stuttering, I'm definitely telling you a lie. He wants us to believe that he has some real exquisite, strong, encrypted vetting process that's going to vet these poor little orphans and poor little widows coming into America. What's your take on this BS, man?
Well, I put it like this. I think the reason why we can't vet them in a lot of cases is a lot of these people were displaced. They're not even coming directly through from Syria. They've moved regionally throughout the Middle East. I know from being an American You know, when you're born in this country, you get a birth certificate, you get a social security card. If you're part of the educational system, there's some semblance of a file on you. So if you have any sort of a dangerous or a violent tendency, a lot of that information is documented. And now in the information age, it's all downloaded into databases, and it's easily obtainable information. These are third world countries. I mean, what kind of process do you think that they have as far as keeping a record of each other? You know, a lot of these are small villages that are ran barbarically, you know, and like I said, the biggest issue for major, you know, intelligence resources, like, you know, I mean, obviously we've had people on the ground there, you know, spies or just intelligence agencies collecting information on a lot of these people. The ones that are moving regionally from area to area, those are candidates to be radicalized. We've had Americans become radicalized and go over there. It's all about belief. It's almost like if they can win your heart and mind, that, you know, you want to get online for your 72 virgins or whatever the case may be. I mean, you've had women go over there to marry into it, which is just completely backwards based on what that culture is. You know, when people complain about the culture in this country, it just makes me so sick. I mean, we should just be applying the Constitution to every man, woman, and child, regardless of creed, race, or sexuality, whatever the hell. You know, at the end of the day, the Constitution protects us. How anybody would want to give that up to go live in that 7th century third world society makes no sense. But ultimately, there's no possible way. The highest levels of our information and intelligence have told the president directly. There's no vetting process. One thing that I thought was dangerous, too, Dr. Carson was in Jordan over the weekend, assessing it himself and saying that we have to help. That's another instance where emotional politics, you know, it puts the country at a detriment. I mean, if we're going to bring in people here that we really don't know if they can commit what happened in France, 1. 2, we've had Paul Ryan in the House saying that he was not going to take any money from the refugee resettlement. And even if it's at the cost of cutting money from veterans, which is the worst possible slap in the face for the people who went in there and stabilized that region in the first place. You know? It's like, if I'm a member of the military right now, do you even want to serve under a commander-in-chief like this?
No.
It's out of control.
No. And I hear that from any military personnel that I may possibly run into. I mean, I have veterans that are at my job, and they're at a loss of words as to how this so-called commander-in-chief has diminished the number one powerful military that the world has ever seen. We are at levels pre-World War II, freaking Aztecs, whatever you want to call it. We're pre-everything since Obama came in. Mm-hmm. Now, just think about this. And I'm going to go off topic for just a second. We're going to bring it back full circle. But this past weekend, people are all in the uproar thinking World War III was about to start because Turkey shot down that Russian jet fighter. Okay, you look at it like this. Say, for instance, events happen, they unfurl, and all of a sudden we're at war. How in the hell is America going to defend itself with the current military that we have now, with the current commander-in-chief that we have now, the current commander-in-chief rules of engagement? And I like I said, I don't want to go off topic, but seeing that we're talking about ISIS and taking them out and things of that nature.
It relates to the military. You're absolutely
exactly
right. You know, and the other part of it too is that we've gone, and a lot of this leads to how he started his foreign policy. He started his foreign policy with an apology tour. One of the quotes that I found interesting, and let me just find it here because I was like moving papers around, but it was actually one of the more interesting ones here and more telling ones. And they play perfectly together. Obama said, personally, as the leader of the world's largest economy and the second largest emitter, and he's referring to carbon dioxide emission, to say that the United States not only recognizes our role in creating this problem, that's another version of America going around the world saying, we're sorry the world sucks because of us. And it's not even true. We're the first country that put in standards, you know, as far as for emissions of any kind. You know, a lot of these countries are dirty compared to the United States. Do you think China has an EPA? With all the industry that do you think they care about that? They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about making money and keeping their economy strong and, you know, changing the value of their money and putting the world markets in flux and all the little silly things that China does. But it's just another example. Like, if there's no pride in being American, people aren't going to want to take up arms if, God forbid, what you said happens. If let's say Turkey and Russia drag us into a third world war, America's here for the taking, and we've been weakened to the point where we will be easily taken.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And it just frustrates me to no end that, obviously, when you look 7 years into this tyranny that we've had to live under, that unless we get somebody in here, okay, and I'm talking, let me get myself on the screen here. I'm talking to you, America. Whether you're liberal, whether you're conservative, whether you're a Democrat, or whether you're a Republican. Things that have been put in place, and we have another year of this man in office, okay? It ain't over. It's not over, okay? We got another year of this man, and who knows what in the world we have in store, because I told people beginning of the year this year that people were thinking, it can't get any worse than this. That dude's got one more year. It's gonna get worse because he's gonna
do it himself. He's gonna rule by fiat. He's gonna tell Congress. He's gonna bully Congress into sending him bills that he will sign, because this spineless Congress will not force him to just veto left and right. I mean, you could win in the court of public opinion very easily, you know, and set us up to win the next election easily if you can just show the people Obama for what he is. The problem is we're not getting the pushback. You know, Paul Ryan's not doing it. Mitch McConnell's not doing it. And those are the two most important Republicans, whether you like it or not.
And speaking of Mitch McConnell, has anybody seen this? Is he dead?
Chicken neck. I don't know.
I have not heard one word, one... I'm on air. I almost said it. Well, hey, yeah. Where has Mitch McConnell been? Where is he? Can someone explain to me where this dude is? Hello?
They're not doing anything. Like, when he'll show up when he needs to bully the Republicans into voting for something that passed through the House. It's always going to be between the House, and it's harder too. This is the thing that I don't understand. I thought we had a veto-proof majority in the House if everybody votes the same way. Isn't that
we
what
do?
We do.
We do.
We should be advancing. If anything, let the bills die in Congress, because I'd rather do nothing than pass a bad bill. You understand?
Exactly. No, I
be exerting their power at this point.
Exactly. I look at how, and you look at the beginning of Hussein's presidency, and how at the very beginning, those first 2 years, he had everything. He had everything at his disposal. Everything. He was the president. He had the House and he had the Senate. Okay? He had everything. He could have passed anything and everything under the sun. But that dude is crafty. I give him that. He is crafty as hell. Because you know, if he would have pushed through everything that he wanted to push through, and this is just me and my just insane mind thinking right now. His whole outlook, beginning from a young man, going through high school, going through college, who knows if we ever actually went to college, because we don't know, got no transcripts.
In Indonesia being indoctrinated.
Yeah, we don't have any records of the man actually going to school, so we don't even know if he went to school or not. But anywho, man has been radicalized since a little youngin'. We know this, okay? Because if a man who's been brought up in Indonesia, okay, number one, has had Islam, as he says it, as he always says, has been the most integral part of his life, even though he claims himself to be a Christian, but the most integral part of his life is his Islamic, I guess, whatever the hell he calls it, because, you know, point blank, for people that don't realize that this man is a Muslim, you got something going wrong here in the brain, okay? Okay, if he's not a Muslim, then he is such a sympathizer to Islam that is so just beyond the realm.
What he is, I think. I don't know. He's either one or the other. He either actually is an Islamofascist, or he is the biggest groupie you've ever seen.
And it's funny, like I was saying about he had everything in his wheelbarrow, if you want to call it. Mm-hmm. President, House, Senate could have passed anything. Could have passed that illegal amnesty that he pushed through this past couple years ago or a year ago. No, this man systematically said, you know what? I know I had those 2 years, but you know what? I'm just going to make sure I push through that one main thing that he's just going to push back on and say, this is my legacy, Obamacare. This is going to be part of my legacy, if you want to call it. But that's going to be the quintessential part of his legacy is Obamacare. No matter which way you look at it, this Iran deal, whatever the hell, we may not even be around then, but, whatever. But anywho, he could have, right, he could have pushed through any and everything. I mean, he had everything at his disposal. No, the man is crafty. The man is super crafty. He said, you know what? I'm just going to just, ram this Obamacare down everybody's throat and get America pissed off to the point where he probably thought, well, I'm probably going to lose the House the next election, which exactly what happened. The Tea Party just rose from the ashes and said, you know what? Years went by. It was a split Congress up until this past 2014. Now, you can look at it however way you want to, Julio, but these Republican leaders promised us everything under the sun. They were going to do everything. They were going to fight Obama, trying to repeal Obamacare, try to do away with this illegal amnesty, try to bite back on everything this man has pushed through. Look at what happened. We vote these mofos in, okay? Got the Republicans majority in the Senate and a veto-proof majority in the House. At every turn, Obama has made it to the point, and like I said, the dude is crafty. He's crafty. I'm not going to say I hate the man, because even though there's people that I really can't stand, but hate is a strong word. I just like the man with a passion. Because I try not to hate. That's something that I don't want my kids.
For him though, he's like that. Because he's still the American president, so I hope he gets it right. But he's never gonna. We already know what he is. So.
Nah, yeah, exactly. And it's to the point now where, and I'm gonna let you, put your 2 cents on it. The man's been very crafty. He has done everything to make sure that America is divided, and Lord knows we are divided racially, economically, socially, any aspect you could think of, we are divided in some form or fashion. And that was his ultimate goal.
Yeah.
That's what his ultimate goal was, because he hates America, can't stand America, always hated America. He's going to do and has done everything to divide us along every line that you could possibly think of. What's your take on it?
Well, I think that there's like a lot of angst and animus right now that has been manufactured. He's had a large part in perpetuating race tension, and the women on his side, the statist, Democrat, liberal, leftist, communist, whatever you want to call them, they sit there and they perpetuate the war on sexes, inequality as far as, from a salary earning standpoint. They push all this. They want this divide. I think that that's what statists do. They sit there and they play the shell game. They make you pay attention to things that aren't even really there. Because, if you look at things statistically as far as with the race issue, and especially with violence, by the police, David Clark, the sheriff, Milwaukee Sheriff David Clark, he put out some of the best information to the mainstream that you can ever really have. 62% of deadly force used against citizens in this country initiated by police in the year 2014, 62% was against white males. 31% was against black males. So you tell me why we have, a falsified narrative being pushed through the country, the hands up, don't shoot, the Black Lives Matter movement, the anti-police movement. This is what the statists want. They want all this discourse. They want all this controversy going on so then they can sit there and use it for either justification to take our rights or for other reasons. If you ask me, there is an actual class war to a certain extent that's going on, but it's not the one that people think about. It's not the 1% versus, the poor people. There's nothing like that. I think that where you really have an issue is when you have the class of people that get up every morning and go to work and pay their bills and barely get by, subsidizing people that live basically at the same level. They may live in the same apartment building. They may drive similar cars. They may have similar amounts of food in their refrigerator and money in their pocket. But one set of the people actually work for it, and the other side just milk the system to get it. And I don't think that we talk enough about that because the progressive tax system is killing them. We really need like a flat tax and, a lot of reforms with that. But ultimately, you wind up with people that are living basically at the same level, but one group of people probably produces 80 hours a week worth of effort, and the other ones just sit around eating Cheetos, smoking weed and playing video games. So, that's basically where I think it is.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, we got about 3 minutes left in the show, and this is about the time we're going to wrap it up. I just want to make sure that everyone gets your information as far as how people can reach you social media-wise, if you got a website or whatever. Now's your time to plug away the Conserva-Rican Julio Rivera.
Thank you, and my name is Julio Rivera. Conserva-Rican, if you haven't figured it out, is a hybrid word of conservative and Puerto Rican. You can look that up on Facebook. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one there as Conserva-Rican. If somebody else has used it, then, I have no idea about that. No, but it's www.conservarican.com. That's a website, and I do post videos. I write from time to time. Don't always have the time to update it, but that one's it. At it's Julio, OHYEAHITSJULIO on Twitter. And that's about it, I think, at this point. And on Spreaker, actually. You can catch a couple of podcasts on Spreaker, and that library will be growing exponentially shortly.
Awesome. Now, seeing that I brought you on the political heat for this wonderful broadcast, you are now part of the War Radio family.
Oh, thank you. I actually appreciate that. You know what? My earliest memories of of WAAR was, the old News Ninja. Remember the Spreecast?
Yes.
Where everybody would jump on, and my computer was so slow. We can't have them on right now. And that's going back like 2 years. So
yes, sir.
When this was all starting.
Yes, sir.
I'm really glad to be here and stuff. And it was really nice at CPAC to meet a lot of people. That was the first time I actually met Wayne. I was lucky enough to meet you and Hutch over at AFP this year in Columbus.
Yes.
And we had a great time there.
Yes.
That was a good time.
And yes, sir.
Further moving on or whatever, we look forward to doing a lot of great work together and bringing a lot of truth to people that aren't getting it through the mainstream media, which is, I think, really what the message and the purpose is of WAAR Radio. And, just to be here is an honor, and I appreciate you having me on, Dan.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother. And we're looking forward to CPAC. Just throwing that out there.
Oh yeah.
Because seems like a lot of War Radio focus coming to CPAC. So we got some good times ahead of us, man. No doubt.
Radio Row.
Well, Julio, thank you for coming on, man. We'll have you on again, most definitely. And I appreciate it, man. And God bless you and yours and your family.
God bless you.
Be safe, man. And
your 2 kids and your 4 pets and you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. All right, man. You have a good one, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, we will speak.
All right, man. That was Julio Rivera. And I appreciate everyone hanging in there with me tonight. I know we had some minor technical difficulties as far as the levels with me and Julio, but I appreciate you hanging in there. This is yours truly, Dan Adams, a.k.a. the Soulful Conservative. We are America Radio. We are trying to be the number one streaming source for political and government talk on any platform that you can think of. And as I said at the beginning of the show, the War Radio app, Android, iOS, is now available. Go to the stores, put in War Radio, WAA Radio, and get it. Till next time, God bless. Peace.